Peace, peace, happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future, not going too far in the past. Right now, it's all about farming. It's all about trees. It's all about, you know, later you could say genetics, but genetics in the form of trees and seeds. That's why everything is about, the seed of life, the flower of life. Matter of fact, pull out my seed of life, you know, but and then it got the seed. It's just the circles behind, not necessarily the star tetrahedron, but the circles behind it, the seven circles equaling the seed, or that first genesis of creation. The first seven, the seven orbs. And matter of fact, those first seven is also those first seven stars in Ursa Major. You know, and again, with the aspect of even in astrology, the aspect, I want to say it's like the equinoxes, I want to say represent the tree of life, or is it the solstice? I think it's the equinoxes because they also represent the pillar. Like again, mythology with these stories and Hercules knocking down these two pillars, but in essence was knocking down like the pillars of the equinoxes or solstices. But long story short, just that aspect again, but just like with the family tree, it's not called a family tree for anything, you know what I'm saying? Like again, this is not about race as much as it's like almost like botany, or it's about like plants and seeds, you know what I'm saying? And when you're farming, you know, again, like what we eat, we make sure we want to eat non-genetically modified foods, you know what I'm saying? Like again, as above, so below, as within, so without. So if that whole aspect of us, you know what I'm saying, dealing with foods that are uh, you know, genetically modified, then also, this earthly plane, this realm, this bodysuit, this body we in, wouldn't want, it's unhealthy to have genetically modified energies within this bodysuit, you know. And I've been seeing that energy come up, with the whole Yaku vibe and getting down to the truth of, like the Frankenstein. There's nothing new under the sun. The story of Frankenstein creating this being or whatever, But some way, form, or fashion, these beings genetically modified, some saying a Caucasoid, Caucasian, however you want to, you know what I'm saying? And again, to each his own on how you resonate with that. Because some people who may be considered uh, Caucasian or quote unquote white may actually have neuromelanin and be just as tapped in as the next. But, again, there are beings that were genetically modified. Matter of fact, and that goes back to that Atlantis story. And two, reason why I'm bringing this up, because I'm also tapping into that vibe of, I remember when I was doing the Lyran video, the Lyran beings videos, if you go check out those, and the videos about like the reptilians, and and that connection with the Terra papers. And basically though, I caught my own inner gnosis where I'm like, I remember matter of fact, I think it was probably like an acid trip or a mushroom trip, and it came to me like, all right, damn, like the Garden of Eden, basically, again, Mount Meru, or that North Pole, that the Garden of Eden was basically a garden where all gods were allowed to, tap into the physical realm, you know what I'm saying, in some way, form, or fashion. Let's just say the Garden of Eden was where gods were able to plant seeds, let's just say. And with some of those, some of the gods on some, for whatever reason, want to go into the garden, and create a certain genetically modified seed and plant that seed. You know what I'm saying? And after planting that genetically modified seed, then we had a situation again, as above, so below, as within, so without. You see how these, like Monsanto with the genetically modified, soybean and stuff like that, harming other crops and stuff like that, like not allowing other crops to, like basically it's and I want to say a sterile plant or something like that, where it doesn't allow for, like you basically have to have another genetically modified seed in order to create that plant, you know what I'm saying? Because the seeds are sterile. So like how naturally seeds, like if I get a plum seed or a seed from any type of fruit tree or something like that, I could just take that and replant it, you know. Because another thing too, the value of seeds, you know, literally and figuratively, or should I say, as above, so below, as within, so without, you know. Not only the seeds, like the plants, you know, again, with family tree, you know, our genetics. And again, if you planting a certain seed or whatever, I'm not gonna water down and keep splicing that seed. Same thing with the herb plant. You know, and why the OG strands have more of that strong connection and that natural connection, you know, 'cause the original God strands or them OG strands, you know. Those strands that haven't been tampered with and watered down, where the seeds haven't been uh, you know, spliced and watered down continuously, you know. Again, has nothing to do with race. It has all to do with botany and seeds and planting and wanting a certain strand of seed, you know, being strong, because there's certain seeds that, you know, or certain fruits that, you know, within that, if planted in this realm, you know, we'll be less hungry and things will just, you know, be way more beautiful for us if we had a lot more trees or a lot more, you know, fruits, you know, and natural fruits at that, you know, instead of these GMO situations, you know. So you see the direct correlation with, you know, with the as above, so below aspect of us being, you know, like trees and seeds, you know. And here it is again, where we, you know, on a reincarnated being level, you know, from our family tree, you know, cleaning up certain old aspects of our family tree, because as a seed from, you know, that bigger tree, you know, which again, as I'm saying, that tree within the physical realm, you know what I'm saying? So like my family tree, as far as like the physical, you know, physical genetics in essence, which in essence has to deal with star genetics and your, you know, your lineage from an aspect of, you know, your, you know, as far as like what constellations, star systems, galaxies, or whatever that you resonate with the strongest, you know, because again, you are no thing, you know, which allows for you to be, you know, if you're no thing, you have the potential to be all things, you know what I'm saying? So you're the no thing first and foremost, you know. But again, with the genetics aspect, you know, again, like if I come from a certain tree that been spray painted on, or let's just say like, you know, a certain tree that's been treated with pesticides, and you know, now that tree, you know, that family tree is used to being all drugged up because it has pesticides in it. And as me, as a fruit from that tree, with, you know, with the potential to, you know, with a seed inside me, you know, my Christ seed, all my seed, you know, as a fruit, you know, I have the potential to, you know, not allow for myself to go down the same path as, you know, the tree I come from. You know what I'm saying? And change up that energy by being a tree that doesn't allow pesticides to, you know, flow through it, whatever the case may be. You know, I'm just for, you know, for analogy, you know, of it to kind of paint that picture. But again, it's all about, you know, again, we talk about the tree of life, you know, tree of knowledge, you know, and again, the serpent aspect. The serpent represents, you know, the Ouroboros, eternal life, life and death, you know, the Kundalini energy, as well as the reptile represents the reptile up above, the reptilian brain stem, as well as the reptile in the lower energies, aka the Kundalini energy, you know. And again, it represents, you know, as above, so below, connected with the Draco's constellation, with the Ursa Major constellation, which has 7 stars. You know, the Bear, the Big Dipper, in which no coincidence that, you know, with the breathing techniques of the Chi, you know, the Tao and the Chi breathing exercises, you know, mostly spoken on by Mantak Chia. You know, Mantak Chia is an author that, you know, speaks on a lot of the, you know, the microcosmic orbit and the Chi energy exercises. But a lot of that has to do with visualizing, you know, the constellations, or visualizing the Big Dipper over your head and things of this nature to connect you with that energy. And again, you know, all those energies. And matter of fact, give me 1 second because I want to try to tie in some things to this. See, it's all live, baby. Just walking and had this vibe about it. You know, with the trees and all this. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure that the solstices are were known as the pillars of Hercules. So the solstices, which is let's see, you know, the summer and winter solstice, you know, because you got the equinox dealing with equal daylight, equal night time, you know what I'm saying? And the equinoxes is the you know, around the Aries energy and around the Libra energy is around March 21st and September 23rd. That's the equinox. I mean, yeah, the equinox aspects. And then the other ones are the solstices. You know? But again, these dates are like doorways and portals as well. You know, so you see that connection too. But again, like the whole aspect of you know, this being like a tree. You see all those correlations. You know, the name April in Latin means to open, you know what I'm saying? So April, you know, to open a door, you know, open a pathway, or the New Year's, you know what I'm saying? Spring into action, open that door. So April in Latin means open. And cardinal in Latin means a hinge, like a cardinal sign, you know, it's like a hinge, or, you know, again, like a hinge to a door, you know, to open that door. And basically, you know, again, these dates are like doorways and portals into certain energies, you know. And again, that which two pillars are, let's see. Yeah, the tree of life of good and evil is the two equinoxes. Yep. So the two equinoxes, you know, the equinoxes are like you see I'm doing too much a little bit, but you see the equinoxes are these points from right here, you know, to right here are these equinoxes. You know, or the tree, you know, again, the tree of life. And again, that's back to the full circle, or the 360 degrees, you know, of you know, of knowledge. And like when we talk about angles of light, you know, like the angels are the angles of light. Like, what angle did you choose to come down here in? Did you come down in the angle of 3 degrees Capricorn and your sun, and 28 degrees Scorpio and your Venus? You know what I'm saying? Did you take that angle of light? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about that aspect. You know, but something else I wanted to speak on or show. Oh, let's see. That's basically just the whole aspect of being connected to seeds, you know, and seeing how the seeds grow. Because literally, as above, so below, as within, so without. You know, reason why the seeds, in essence, when you plant seeds, one of the strongest growing processes is connected with the moon. You know, the moon energy is what really helps those seeds to grow, you know. And when we think about us, you know what I'm saying, it's not about necessarily, yeah, the sunshine helps us, but when we think about the true evolution of our being, you know, it's like through those moon cycles, you know what I'm saying, is what we really, you know, leveling up, you know, compared to the sun shining on us every day, you know what I'm saying, like, which is the same all the time. You know, the sun is going to shine. Of course, again, you got like eclipse energies of that nature, but for the most part, it's not as transformational as that you know, that moon energy. You know, that moon energy, you know, is real strong about that. And it also, again, back to the seeds, you know, the seeds growing and transforming due to the moon energy, and hence why it's so important for us dealing with our magic or just any aspects, you know, where we dealing with, you know, tracking the moon cycles, you know, and being up with the moon cycles as well. But this is not about, again, as above, so below, as within, so without, you know. Somebody tried to paint this picture of it being like humans, and you know, and I mean, yeah, we're in a human bodysuit, but we you know, as souls on a human experience, you know, we represent things on higher levels and lower levels, you know, and you know, by getting knowledge about, you know, certain aspects of the higher aspects, the lower aspects, or the inner aspects and outer aspects, you get to know the fullness of your being, you know, as above, so below, as within, so without, you know, the law of correspondence again. But I digress, you know, just sharing that aspect again, like how it's all about seeds. And literally, if I'm planting a seed, you know, I'm not trying to water down that seed and water down that seed like, oh, you trying to keep the all the healthy seeds together. That means you're racist against the GMO seeds, or you got something against unhealthy seeds. I mean, do I have something against unhealthy seeds or GMO, or do I have a you know, accountability or responsibility to make sure, you know, my bodysuit is running to the tip top shape, you know, that my universe is running in its highest capacity. And for my universe to run in its highest capacity, I got to make sure, you know, the certain seeds are becoming stronger within my body, you know, and not being diluted by being constantly spliced and genetically modified, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, that whole aspect, again, nothing new under the sun. You know, the Yaku story is being mimicked through the production of AI, artificial intelligence, you know. And that's why all these stories of like Pinocchio and the AI, like, am I a real, like a robot, like trying to be, am I a real boy or am I a real human? That goes back to the Yaku story, or like a Frankenstein, you know, of like certain beings got created within this realm and not like ancient, you know, existing like before, you know, like or outside this realm. Like again, certain energies and beings were created within this realm, you know. Again, this like the Garden of Eden, you know, in essence. And again, you know, the whole aspect of being responsible about our seeds too, because you know, biting into the fruit, you know, the Adam and Eve story was also an analogy of being responsible about the way you know, you sharing your seeds, or you know, you're planting your seeds in essence, you know. But that's basically it. All goes back to botany. and, and again, like with the, that's what I was gonna say with the herb plant, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, super fragilistic, cadulistic, after whatever docious kush sounds very great, but you know, how does it feel, and is it something that's you know, of a natural strain, you know, that's a stronger and healthier form of cannabis for me to interface with, or is it a genetically modified, spliced up, watered down version of a, you know, of a more healthier plant? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, anybody can answer that question right quick. You know, again, that's why I went, and that's why analogies are so important. Because if I was talking about race, you know, because people identify with their races, they would not try to accept any of this information, like, oh no, this and that. But when I put it into, you know, again, like information as a seed, like if you're a farmer and you plant seeds, you know, why would you want to splice out the healthiness of your plants? Why would you want to create a bunch of genetically modified plants that is harmful to the body? You know, but again, that goes to the bigger aspect too, though, of like us trying, like, again, when Atlantis falling, and a lot of the Atlantis stories talk about these over masculine beings coming in, and things of this nature. You know, that's a lighter story of them not, like, since they don't want to tell it in a Yakub type of way, because they don't want, you know, it's certain beings that still holding on to not letting all of the truth out. You know what I'm saying? So to still come off as these beings, but again, were these beings created that had a certain disconnection, and again, like, and to speak on that Atlantis vibe, where we were, like, when we was in Atlantis, we were looking for something, like, we realized, like, we were going to keep going through this loop, so we needed something to shake things up, to break us out of this certain loop, these, whether it's a certain being, Yakub, which in essence, it's just could be a representation of more than one energy, whatever the case may be, but this energy felt like, all right, let me take it upon myself to go into the garden and plant some, seeds. Like, let me genetically modify some seeds, create some seeds, and plant those seeds, and even though they GMO'd or harmful, maybe this harmful, seed may be the thing that transforms us, or, the pressure that turns us into a diamond. Hence, that's why you don't look at nothing as good or bad or right or wrong within this realm. It's all cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? Just things happen. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. Just it is what it is. True diagnosis, is acknowledging diagnosis. Gnosis meaning knowledge, and in essence, like almost like dissecting, like, like going into that gnosis or that knowledge. So in order to give a diagnosis, I have to acknowledge something, meaning I can't ignore the truth. In order to fix what's going on in this realm right now, you can't ignore truth, can't ignore the diagnosis, because otherwise we won't be able to fix the situation if we're ignoring the diagnosis. Point blank period, you know what I'm saying? That's it, bro. Peace, peace. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Let me make sure that's it. Yeah, because I create more, I could feel myself getting more and more downloads on this vibe. And I'm getting back to that vibe of catching information while it's hot on, inside, like, instead of waiting on some, like, oh yeah, I'll catch it later down the line or whatever. It's like, I spit it out right now, you know what I'm saying? And again, I have older videos that correlate with this information as well, But no matter of fact, more so the videos like with the Lyran beings and breaking down the reptilians, and the whole genetic aspect of somebody, going into the Garden of Eden, or into the genetic room and splicing some shit up when it wasn't their time to go into the genetic room or to even do that, you know what I'm saying? But and these archetypes or these stories, you'll see it in all movies. There's no new story under the sun, nothing new under the sun. It's all, ancient mythology and allegory retold, you know what I'm saying? And by following these movies and aspects from the understanding of that, like not being programmed by the harmful aspects of it, but by understanding, like, all right, this is telling the ancient story, So let me see what ancient story this correlate with, and it allows for you to not be manipulated by, that under subconscious social engineering, subconscious programming vibe, but that's basically it, y'all. Peace, peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate. It's a little mixture of now is the, and just a little remix to it, but now is the vibrate, y'all. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now. Peace, peace.